Today we're taking a look at this fogger by X-POWER. Now this is the F18-B model. It's an ultra low volume fogger that does a great job of distributing disinfectant or protectant products throughout a space. This particular model, the F18-B by X-POWER, is a great option that gives you a lot of flexibility with the cordless operation, different flow rates, a battery indicator, and then also on the back side an indication of how full the reservoir is. If you're planning on using a fogger to distribute chemicals within your space, one of the first things you should do is look at the safety data sheet for the product that you're going to use in the fogger. The safety data sheet is a great tool that gives you any indication of personal protective equipment that you should be wearing while fogging that product. Here we have goggles, masks, and gloves. Any of these might apply depending on the type of chemical that you would use. I have one here that requires goggles and a mask, and one that doesn't require any PPE at all. Another important consideration is making sure that the products you plan on fogging are compatible with the fogger that you're using. With the F18-B in particular, there are some restrictions to make sure that the nozzle doesn't clog or that the motor doesn't heat up. So suspensions, detergents, oils, some of the common disinfectant products will have oils in them, so you do have to be careful about that. And then some other restrictions are acids, bases, or alcohols that can damage the internals of this unit. Now I have two products here. One is Vital Oxide, another is EnviroMist by Z Bioscience, and both of these products are great options for both a disinfectant and a protectant that you can use with an ultra low volume fogger like this X-POWER F18-B. Let's go over some guidelines for how to use the F18-B. To start, we'll take the unit and make sure that the flow control on the front is at the lowest setting or at 0. And then we can open up the back of the unit and pour our solution in. This particular solution I'm using requires no PPE, so I'll replace the cap and I'm good to go. We also have the reservoir indicator on the side here that tells us how full the unit is. Now once we're ready to turn on the unit, the F18-B has two speeds that it operates at. The single dash is the lower speed, the double dash on the top is higher speed. And we'll start this up. The unit will start to flow the product through the inside of the unit before it reaches the nozzle. And then we'll start to see it coming out the front. Sounds a little bit like a vacuum cleaner, so we'll go ahead and get started and I'll show you how this works. You can see the fine mist that's coming out of the front of this unit. Now if we plan on turning this off, the first step is to turn this down to a 0 and then turn off the unit. And be sure that if you're using the X-POWER, that anytime you're finished fogging an area and you're ready to put this away after your job is complete, that you make sure the reservoir is completely empty before you store the unit. Let's talk about a couple of tips for using this fogger. The first is in distributing product. Now, you can certainly use the product and hold it basically parallel to the ground, but to get maximum coverage or maximum distribution of the droplets, it's recommended to hold the unit at about a 45-degree angle to the ground. This makes sure that you get the most efficient spread of product as you're distributing. Another tip for using this unit is making sure that you follow all of the manufacturer's guidelines for how to operate the unit, both in startup and shutting the unit down, but also for cleaning the unit. They recommend using cold water and going through a specific process where you let the water run through the fogger at high speed to help clean out the system. So make sure that once you start using the X-POWER, it's a great and flexible unit, but that you follow those guidelines very carefully.